Hello, beautiful, and welcome to the Moms Talk Sex podcast, a place of no judgment where we can talk about anything and everything. I am so excited to have with me today, beautiful Eva. Hi, Eva.
Hi, thank you for having me more.
Thank you for being here. How about you share a little bit about you with our listeners?
Yes, of course. To those who don't know me, my name is Iva Perez, and I'm a licensed RTT hypnotherapist. So, what I do is that I have studied the science of the mind to really help women and moms to achieve higher levels of success, fulfillment, and freedom. And so I work with them to help access their subconscious mind and see if there are any old beliefs or old blueprints that are running in the background that can be shifted and turned around to create powerful transformations in their lives. So when it comes to sex and intimacy, that is sometimes a very, very private subject that many women sometimes like to keep private or maybe suffer a little bit in silence without knowing exactly whom to go to. And I am the person that you can turn to so we can have a powerful transformation into whatever feelings you might experience or somebody might be experiencing when it comes to their sex life. So on a personal note, I mean, I have been married already for 10 years. And so when my kids were born, I have children that are very close to age. When my second child was born, my daughter, it was really, really a very frantic period because you are readjusting the family dynamics. There's a lot going on. Children, when they're very young, they're very demanding, of course. And we as mothers, we bear the lion's share of all of that, right? Ensuring that everybody is taken care of, ensuring that everyone's needs are met. And then somewhere along the line, we really are feeling drained physically, emotionally, mentally, and our relationship tends to take a backseat. Our relationship with our spouse tends to suffer because we are dealing with a lot of overwhelm. So if our husbands are, for some reason, not on the same page in terms of knowing exactly what our needs are or understanding what we want, they can behave in ways that we start to resent, right? And sometimes as women, we're not open about it and we're not direct at pointing, what is it that we want? What is it that we need? And so that starts to build up. And then we don't actually want to be intimate with them, right? You don't want to be hugging or kissing someone that you are upset with because they did something that was not supposed to happen that way that day or whatever. So I think it is important to realize that all these things are very, very normal. They have happened to me. I have gone through those stages, but I have also gone back to understanding that our mind, our subconscious mind, is so powerful that it really can, once you're able to talk to it in the right way, it can really get to understand what is it that you want and then take you in that direction. And what do I mean by that? Well, it all starts with our thoughts. So when we are already telling ourselves, oh my God, I'm so exhausted, I'm so tired, I'm drained, I just want to go to sleep, then your mind is listening to that. And it's saying, oh, yeah, of course, we're tired, we're exhausted, we're drained. So chemically, we start to prime our body to match the thought that we're having. So when we are in that state, I mean, that mood, it's very, very hard to be turned on. It's very, very hard to have erotic thoughts or to want to, get cozy with our husbands. Like the last thing that we want is to be touched sometimes. We're like, oh my God, please no, right? And so being able to know that we can override that very easily to shift it in such a way, I mean, barring any physical conditions, right? Barring any medical things that might be happening in the background that are really preventing you from having, sexual intercourse. Barring all of that, when it stems from the emotional part, when it stems from the mental side, you can start to shift things around. You can really start to tell yourself a different story, because it's all about stories. So when you say, you know what, I actually feel like I want a dosage of oxytocin, because I know that tonight, if I really get, intimate with my husband, I'm going to be releasing so many good feel hormones that it helps with anti-aging. It helps to fight, diseases, because it's immune boosting, and it's going to make me feel great, right? It's like exercise. There's first inertia period that we have to overcome. But once we get on it, once we come fully on board, then we're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. I'm actually, having the endorphins run through my body after a workout. I feel good. And when we have that bonding experience with our partners and spouses, we also feel good. So, um, so that's one aspect. The other aspect that I would like to share, and this is more generalized, is that we as women, before we have that intimacy, we like to talk, right? We want to share on that level. When men want intimacy, it's physical. So the way that a man is showing you that they love you is by showing that they want to have sex with you, that they want to get intimate. And so when we are able to also put that into perspective and really tell ourselves like, hey, I'm happy, I should be, not that I should, but it's to appreciate, hey, I have a spouse that is coming and desires me. And I might be tired, I might be drained. And of course, they have to understand, if that night is not the night, then that night is not the night. But then how can we prime ourselves during the week or during the next day to allow for that encounter to happen? And it all starts with our mind, and we can all do it in the comfort of our home and without the presence of our spouse. And I think that's a very beautiful thing, that we take our power, our sex life into our hands, and we say, hey, I'm thinking to be spontaneous tonight with my spouse, with my partner. What about if I surprise him? What about if I send a flirty text like I used to send when we were dating? How about if today I treat myself to a massage so that when he gets home, I'm relaxed? Or I diffuse some essential oils, or whatever it is, right? That allows us to feel in that mood. And then if we know we need to prime ourselves a little bit longer, then that's fine. Men are more automatic. They're ready to go in an instant. But maybe for us, it takes a while, right? Because we are dealing with the children again. We're dealing with all the day-to-day activities. But it's allowing ourselves to be both conscious about how we want to nurture the relationship with our husbands and our spouses and our partners, and also how to talk to our subconscious mind into understanding that when we override those thoughts, and they're very automatic, our mind is going to respond to them. So how can we tell ourselves a different story to create physiologically the expectation of pleasure is going to happen? We're going to have a great time. We're going to bond. It gets to be fun again. We need to be able to accept that fun is something that is good, and it doesn't need to end just because we've been married or we've been in a committed relationship or long-term relationship for years. We can always bring it back.
I love that. And I agree so much. So much of what's going on with our body is what is going on in our mind. And just the kind of work I do with women too. It's all about the subconscious and how it's affecting the body. And so many times our past experiences are creating the future that we're living, creating the life that we're living, and also how our body responds. And so it's so important to clear those blocks, clear those beliefs, to really open the subconscious and also from the mind, but also from the body, because our body remembers experiences.
Yes.
And if you had not so great sexual experiences and that's affecting your relationship, we need to clear that so you can actually be in your body, really enjoy being so important. And like you said, when we're moms, we tend to not take care of ourselves. We tend to put ourselves on the back burner, and that's not the most important. But one of my biggest asks when I got married, everybody I knew around me was divorced, you know, my mom, my parents were divorced, my grandparents, like everybody. And I kept telling my husband, like, I don't want to get married to get divorced. Like, that is not what I want to do.
Mhm.
Right? I rather not get married and not get divorced. And
Right.
so I've always thinking, how does it get any better? How can I make it better? How can I make myself better for him, for my kids, but for me, right? And I
Mhm.
think those are questions that we need to ask ourselves constantly. How can we do better for us? Because the minute we are healthy and our mind is in a good space and our body's in a good space, we affect everybody and everything around us, and
Yes.
everything around us. And that's why this work is so amazing. So thank you so much for sharing. And maybe just a little, like, how long have you been doing this kind of work? Um, you know, what did you do when you were going through that, you know, early stages with children when they're so young and it does affect your marriage? What did you do? How did it affect your marriage?
Yeah. So, well, I've been focusing on working with women for over 2 years now, and and specifically, you know, moms that are um, scaling or growing their business as well, because they're a very interesting breed, if I can say that. You know, it's there's a lot happening, and so I do like to be able to give them a tool and an opportunity to get to the root cause of whatever might be happening, and to shift things around very, very quickly. Just like you shared, you know, we grew up with stories about our families, about our identities. Some stories can be, oh, you know, in our family, we're more artists. We're not really good with numbers. And maybe you are really good with numbers, but now you are, you know, your mind is taking in that, oh, actually, I'm not. So we don't get to discern. And sometimes, you know, society nowadays, it's a very, you know, we're living under this mantra of like hustle, grind, repeat, without giving ourselves space to find out exactly whether it's really taking us where we want to go, whether it's aligned with our purpose, with our values. So we're caught a bit in the rat race. And when we don't have that visibility of where that blind spot might be, the overall feeling is just overwhelm. The overall feeling is there's something that's happening that's wrong, and I don't know what to do about it. When you are in that space, when you're in that, you know, I don't know, it's been months already and it doesn't seem to get better. And it's just continuing to pile on. That's when it's good to understand that you can always reach out to someone that is professional, that can hold space for you and can help you understand and navigate what is happening. A lot of, as you mentioned, a lot of what happens is we're carrying the stories and our mind is continuing to look for evidence to justify that belief is actually correct. So when we start to believe those stories, we continue to find more and more evidence that is the case. When we tell ourselves, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I can't even move every day, day in and day out, that's what our body is going to do. It's going to respond to that. So I do like to work with women in the capacity of saying, you know, take control of your sex life. Just because you're a mom, just because you have children, or just because, you know, things have gotten no longer, how can I say, it's not that thrill of the new, then you can always get that spark running again. There are ways. And when we work together, I really help them rediscover how to not only talk to their subconscious mind, but also, as you said, get rid of those limiting beliefs that might be in the background, but how to consciously in the day-to-day apply them in your life and in your relationship, so that you can enjoy more of that intimacy, of those pleasurable experiences that we can get to have with our partners and our spouses.
I love
um yeah.
that. So if our viewers want to get a hold of your work and they find
Yes, of course. So they can always reach me at my website. It's themomergymovement.com. And also on social media, my Instagram handle is at Momergy Movement. And on Facebook, also Momergy Movement. And Momergy is just a combination of two words, mom and energy. So I combine them to make them into momergy, which means like your unique mom energy. We all have a very unique mom energy that sometimes gets piled under the dirty dishes and the dirty laundry and the to-do list. And when we're able to let it out and to really harness it in a very intentional way and in a very powerful way that's unique to us, to our story, to our to what we're here about with our purpose, then it's just amazing how many things can align: the effortless way, the easy way, the fun way. And I just want to offer that inspiration, first of all, and also that invitation to say it is possible. Things can turn around for the better, and working with me is a way that you can harness your momergy and do exactly that.
I love it. That's awesome. Thank you so much for being here with me today. It was such an honor and a pleasure. And I hope you guys enjoy. And we'll see you again next week. Have a wonderful
Thank you so much. Thank you, More.